Hey everyone, welcome back to the Handmade Homestead. Well, today is potato day. So my husband and I don't usually grow white potatoes. We do occasionally, but not usually. They take up a lot of room in the garden that I feel like I can get better yield for other fruits and vegetables for our household if I plant them with other things. So we do grow sweet potatoes. We always grow our own sweet potatoes. I start those from slips. I grow a super dark purple Japanese sweet potato. We use the greens, the sweet potato leaves as well in cooking, and we dehydrate them for soup greens during the cooler months too. So we have a really great farmer nearby that grows potatoes just down the street. They're maybe 2 miles from us. We can buy these great big 50-pound bags of potatoes for $22, $25, right around there. So it's a really good deal, 40, 50 cents a pound. They're so fresh that when I put them in the sink and I wash them, if I wash them too hard, it will actually peel the skin right off them. I'm a person that doesn't like to peel potatoes. I like the skin on. I think it gives it so much more flavor, so much more nutrition. And I think it would take me a really long time to go through this 50-pound bag of potatoes. We are a family of 3 adults and 2 dogs. Currently, one of our other children lives in another state. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to process most of these because the skin is so thin. They're very clean. They're easy to wash and process without peeling this time of year. If I let these sit in my basement for several weeks, the skin would toughen up. I could still use it, obviously, but it would be tougher. If I do it now, it's almost like using a pretty cleanly peeled potato. So I'm going to dice a bunch of them and make hash browns. I'm going to take others and use a crinkle cutter, and I'm going to make French fries. Those things I'm both going to do. I'm probably not going to do both of those things today, but I will do one or the other for this video. But the process is the same. Whether you cut them in little chunks for hash browns or you cut them in bigger strips for French fries, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to wash these, cut them, leave them in cold water while you're working your way through cutting the ones you want. Then you're going to drain them, blanch them, and then cool them really quickly. Pat them dry, put a tiny bit of vegetable oil on them. In our case, I use olive oil or avocado oil. And then freeze them flat. Right in the freezer they go. The hash browns I probably won't flash freeze flat because I don't care if they stick together a little bit. I'll just bang the bag. And then once they're frozen, I'll put them in freezer, vacuum sealer freezer bags. I have a food saver, and they'll be ready to go all winter. I won't have to worry about any of them spoiling. First thing I'm going to do though, I'm going to take out a whole bunch and fill up the potato bin in my upstairs kitchen area so that I have that full, and then I'm going to process probably all of the rest or most of the rest. So let's get going. I'm not sure if I'm going to do hash browns or French fries, but I'm going to do one or the other. I might do both, some of both. We'll see how much time I have, and I'll cut the video so it's short and you're not watching me do potatoes for 3 hours. All right, if you're ready, I'm ready. I think Tank's ready. He's down there taking up room on the floor. Let's go. So let's start by getting our equipment ready. I've got a big metal bowl to put potatoes in. I'm going to put some water in that first. As I cut them up, they'll go in the cold water. A smaller bowl to cool the potatoes in after they've been blanched. The strainer is to blanch them in a pot of boiling water so I don't have to fish them out each time. My 1/2-inch blade is on the chopper. A knife just to cut the discs of the potatoes, and a cutting board, of course. First, I'm going to line this little crate. This is what I keep my potatoes in my kitchen on a rack. I'm going to line it with some newspaper, start putting down layers of potatoes. I make sure that there's no blemishes or, fungus or mold or anything on them. I lay down a nice layer of potatoes, another layer of newspaper, a layer of potatoes, and I keep doing that until that's full. And I think that bin held about 25 pounds of potatoes, and I did end up processing the other full 25 pounds. So the very top will get covered with a couple layers of newspaper, just to keep the light out and keep them fresh. All right, so we're going to start washing what's left, piling them on the counter. These are the ones that I'm going to process first for hash browns and then for French fries. So these are all nice and clean. They are not peeled. I'm going to cut them in chunks and just put them through the chopper. I know you've seen me do this a bunch of times. I love this little plastic chopper, and it's very inexpensive on Amazon. Once they're diced, I put them right into the bowl of cold water. That ice water helps remove some of the starch, and it keeps them from browning until I'm able to fish them out and throw them in the hot water to blanch. Okay, so if potatoes are really cheap generally, why do I do this? I do it because most of the time when I buy potatoes in the grocery store, they are full of rotted areas in the middle, or half the time they're green on the outside. And I'm sick of throwing potatoes away, even though I can buy decent priced potatoes at places like Aldi or Shaw's or Stop and Shop. They are almost always inferior quality potatoes. Look at these potatoes. Potato after potato after potato. I don't have to cut off anything. I don't have to cut off a rotten spot or a moldy spot or potato eyes or tough skin or bruises or cuts that have gone into the potato. I don't cut them in half and find potatoes that have mold and mildew and bugs and disease, frankly, inside the inner potato. I'm sick of throwing away the potatoes that I buy at the store. So I buy them from a local guy. They couldn't possibly be fresher. I mean, I did not peel these potatoes. All I did was cut them in chunks. Can you see how thin that skin is? It's so thin that if I wash them real hard or rub them with my nail, the skin comes right off. It's paper thin, even thinner. So, and they're fresh. They're even crispy because they're fresh. If I bought them today, they probably were in the ground just a couple days ago, maybe even this morning. And they will be fresh and delicious and full of flavor and have great texture and be available in our freezer until we're ready to eat them in vacuum sealed bags. And I won't throw away half the harvest because it was contaminated with some kind of rot or fungus. So I finished cubing my potatoes. I'm going to toss them in this handy strainer so I can get them blanching. Now the strainer, this actually is made for an Instant Pot, but it works really well for this. That is an Instant Pot liner pan I'm using. I happen to have two of them, so I'm using one. I dunk it a few times to make sure that the hot water gets all in through the potatoes. Then into the cold water they go after I blanch them for about 2 or 3 minutes. I make sure they're thoroughly cool before draining them. So I'm going to drain them really well. I'm going to pat them dry, rub them down with a little oil, and vacuum seal them. I just put in the amount that I would use for a meal. For 2 people, if there's 3 of us, I just use 2 packs because my husband and son can eat quite a bit anyway. So yeah, I go right into the food saver. I love, 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 love my food saver. Did I say I love it? I love it. Not too tight. I don't want to squish them, but I want to take some of the air out. It's sealing the bag. Now that it's vacuumed out the air, I get this strong seal. It's not too tight, so I don't have to worry about them squishing. And if they get frozen because they're still moist, all I have to do is bang this bag a couple times hard on the counter, and they'll all come apart. That is enough for a really good big meal and leftovers for our family. All right, let's crinkle cut some French fries. So we like a really big steak fry, so I'm gonna cut these really thick. That's what my family prefers, but you do you when you cut your French fries. These crinkle cutters, I bought them because I frankly bought one for soap and it came as a 2-pack. So I used the other one in the kitchen. They are dull as a doorknob. You have to really push on them. They're not easy to use, but they do produce a really attractive French fry. And you can see those are nice big chunks. I followed the same steps as the hash browns. I took those crinkle cut fries, soaked them in water till I was ready. When I was all done cutting them, I blanched them in batches in boiling water for about 2 or 3 minutes, cooled them off, and then spread them on towels. And you see me here patting off the excess water. You'll notice here I've got a fan blowing on them as well. I want to get these as dry as I can before adding oil. Once they're dry, I put them in a big bowl with a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, toss them around, and then I vacuum seal them. You could flash freeze them in a single layer if you wanted, but since I oil them, I don't seem to have any problem with sticking. Well, that's it for today. I will see you on Sunday for the next video. Thanks for watching.